Welcome back to Competitive Open RL. Here we are with more Masters action. It's the quarterfinals of the 2022 Masters in Rival Tier. I am joining LTX Sam, who's been here all day, Sam, and there's been some pretty interesting matchups. Very close in two that we perhaps didn't expect both of them to go as close as they did, both going to 3 sets. Of course, myself, unfortunately, coming out the wrong side of that, but it's been a fascinating watch so far.
I was curious if we could get a comment on you from that match. Obviously, you played poke earlier today. Set went all the way the distance, all the way to the final game of set 3. Can we get some comment from you on that?
Yeah, it was a great series. I thought I started well. I thought I played quite well early on, but poke was very consistent early on, and I felt I was I suppose tired throughout the series. It's an unusual format. It's one we're not used to playing in. Of course, the sets and it gets long towards the end, and definitely tough to keep your concentration the whole way through. And I think it's great that we're seeing that this unique format is really showing why it's here for these top 8 players in the rankings. They're capable of adapting to series they're not going their way. We saw it with Lennon and Huaru as well. You know, that was back and forth the whole way until the end. So these players know how to win, and it'll be fascinating to see how this one will go. Of course, 7 is a big favourite, not just for this match, but for the tournament as a whole, Sam. The freshly crowned 1v1 champion is going to take a lot of beating.
Yeah, freshly crowned, and of course, up against, we all know how seeding works, the lowest seed of the competition. So it's really a David versus Goliath story. JaxInai, the CORL, very active in the CORL scene. Some decent results, of course. He's well earned his place in the CORL Masters, but he's going up against an absolute titan. A new challenger has emerged, and he is called 7, and a massive competitor in this competition, as we have the players getting into the games right now. Best of 3 sets. Of course, it's only going to escalate over the course of the tournament, but we're starting off modest with just best of 3, and the kickoff commences.
Yeah, gonna be a fascinating watch. It's a tall order for JaxInai here, no question about that. He is the lowest seed in this competition. He's the only player in the Masters not to have won a ranking tournament this season. Did make the final of Summer Doubles Arena. That's what's largely got him in here, and 7 is going to start the scoring very early in this game.
Somewhat expected for JaxInai to have to settle into this series slightly. 7, of course, mechanically superior and a 1v1 specialist, I believe would be fair to say. JaxInai, on the other hand, doesn't have all these great things going for him. He has experience in the competitive open circuit. He has passion. He has the will to win. And it's a question of if that will be enough for him to find a way into the series. It's a long one. Many games are likely to be played, so he'll have some time to find his footing. But yeah, this initial onslaught is to be expected, I would say.
Yeah, and JaxInai feeling a little bit under the weather in the recent days as well, so it's not all in all making the prettiest picture if you're going for a prediction in favour of JaxInai here, but anything can happen, and we've seen everything happen today, just about, Sam. All 3 sets gone in both of the first 2 matches. It's been a fascinating watch, and very much enjoyed that second series from the sidelines. Huaru, in the end, getting through after, well, I think it's fair to say, Sam, quite the scare. We'll see if JaxInai can give 7 anything like that kind of scare. It's going to be 3-0 inside a minute, and at the moment, it's not looking likely.
I appreciate you bringing up the Huaru and Lennon series, because, you know, we say, oh, Seed 1 versus Seed 8. It's good. And your initial instinct there is, oh, Seed 8 has absolutely no chance. We've just seen Lennon take Huaru, the second favourite, the favourite runner-up, I suppose, who only lost to 7, of course, who's on the pitch now. You'll see him as user 129346777.
Quite the catchy name.
Yeah, no, it really does roll off the tongue. But upsets do happen in Rocket League, and JaxInai has every bit. He certainly has the toolcase to pull from to make it happen.
Yeah, and I think the key for JaxInai here, especially in the early games, is just to settle down and enjoy himself in this environment. This is a once-a-year event. It's only for the very best players in each tier, and in itself to qualify is a great achievement. So why not enjoy yourself against the best player in this tournament, ostensibly? And
Absolutely, you've
he
secured
stopped the
yourself.
bleeding, Sam, pretty effectively.
He really has defensively, so, and that's slightly wide. He could have a chance even to get back to this, and he does. And now looking to mount something of an offense.
Yeah, JaxInai, I've been very impressed. After that first minute where all 3 goals were scored, he has stemmed the tide very effectively against 7. The question is, of course, is 7 pushing for all it's worth? Perhaps not, but JaxInai has not really given him a look in on his blue end of the field. That's not the best touch, though, and surely he'll roll this one in on the other end. And that is going to be a very handsome lead early in this game for 7. He's got to win 4, at least 4, of course, Sam, but it matters when you win them too in this format. You have to take those set wins. He's looking good for this first game.
It's certainly a picture perfect start. To be expected, of course, JaxInai. Starting to find a footing in this game, though, as you said, has stopped the bleeding for the most part. Some blood did get through there momentarily, and some blood on the blue goal line as well. Splattered all across as octane pots fly everywhere as user 1, 2, 9, 3, 4, 6, 7, 7 slots 1, and of course better known as 7, but quite a fun name to say. I suppose the 7 comes from the 77 at the end, but yeah, quite a good game so far.
You might just have to get on to him about changing that name to something a little bit more catchy for the rest of the tournament, if indeed he does go through, Sam, as seems likely. Half-time comes and goes. 5-0, certainly not a close game, but I have to say, it could have gone worse. There's no question about that. I mean, it's worth noting just how dominant 7 was in that 1v1 championship. He didn't just win it. He won it very, very comfortably, and that's a brilliant play by JaxInai. I think, Sam, if he does have one key strength, it is his flicks in these positions. He's very effective at beating that last man, and of course, in ones is what he wants to beat. Gets his first goal on the board.
It was absolutely magnificent, and back within 4, as you say, half-time has passed. If he's not settled in now, should be getting settled in any moment now, and 7 maybe a slight shock to his ego as he's put back within 4. That one's going to go wide. No, it's not. I feel like JaxInai could have gotten to that one. Slight defensive mishap, perhaps, as that 5-goal lead re-established, and 7 reigns supreme yet again.
Yeah, it's a great shot from the corner as well. At this level, JaxInai definitely won't be used to opponents slotting that top corner at a narrow angle like that. Very efficient with his shooting. I think 7, he's such an overwhelming favourite for this event based on his recent triumph in the 1v1 championship that he's going to have a bit of a target on his back, Sam. I think most players, JaxInai, but even the rest of the field, are going to feel with like they're playing with no pressure really against 7. And that's going to be something he has to deal with. Okay, JaxInai is handling quite effectively now, but we look forward to the semis if he does get there. You know, he's going to be playing Newcastle Fan or Leon, and those players are going to give him, surely, quite the test. And they're going to be playing with very little pressure on them, as he is fully expected to cruise through this tournament. We've only got one sample of a tournament performance from him, Sam, but it couldn't have been much more dominant. He only dropped a single game. That was in the final to Hararu, who we just saw go through to the semis here. So it's going to be tough for him to keep up that level that everyone now expects from him. That's another good shot, though, off the post. JaxInai needs to save this one. And, well, as I've been talking a little bit about the background of 7 coming into this event, he has been putting goals on non-stop, Sam. This has been a very quick 4, from 4-1 to 8-1. It's been ruthlessly efficient.
And as you mentioned, the showdown between Hararu and 7, the projected, for whatever it's worth, the projected outcome of this event has them facing off in the final. Of course, first and second seed respectively, so it could be a rematch we're seeing in the near future between those two, should Hararu win his semi-final match and Hararu progress, or 7 progress to the semi-final. He's able to win there. They are on opposite sides of the bracket, so that showdown, some would say imminent, but certainly it's worth noting that it's at least possible for them to be in the final. The two titans of the 1v1 call scene.
Yeah, and it's going to be quite a mighty match on that format. We're talking about these best of 3 sets being quite long. Sam, the final is going to be 3 best of 7s potentially. That is going to really sort the wheat from the chaff, and 7 is going to have to earn this victory if it is going to be his in the Masters this year. 10-1, and I think he may have found his rhythm.
Yeah, not unlike his namesake, 7 games. It's a magical number 7, many say. Many apply a sense of good luck. I feel like 7 doesn't quite need good luck in this series so far. Lucky number 7 not required, as 11-1 is what the scoreline reads. JaxInai, though, I didn't expect him to even get 1 in this first game, so I'm sure he'll be pleased with that at the very least, garnering as much experience as he can from what we have clearly outlined as the favourite of the competition.
I think you might have used up all those close series without me, Sam. I'm not getting to enjoy a real nail-biter like you just did in the last 2 series, but potentially more drama to come. Of course, after this, we have perhaps the match of the day on paper, Newcastle fan against Leon L50, 4th and 5th seeds. They have played once, Sam. That was in the Crew Battle Team Championship, and Newcastle fan took that, I believe, 6-2, so perhaps he's the favourite against the ranked number 2 in rival tier, Leon L50. Whoever wins that will have a titanic task against 7 if it is him who gets through here, Sam.
The Leon Leopards, though, of course, losing to Newcastle fan on the LTX Lobsters during the Battle Team Championship, so it certainly goes both ways.
Well, Newcastle took the win, so it didn't go
Newcastle
both ways.
also-
Newcastle
oh, no,
has it
there
all
goes-
in that matchup so far.
Oh no, Leon L50
Can he
could
get one
be
for the
in
road here?
some trouble. 12-1 is game 1 final scoreline, and first game of the first set, first best of 3 set of the day for both of these players.
Yeah, JaxInai, he's had a bit of a baptism of fire here, Sam, in his first ever game in the CORL Masters. This is quite a challenge, and 7 has just been sublime. What a performance, 12-1. And he made it look effortless, didn't he?
It's his first
Not
showing
even
against.
close.
It is his first showing against an opponent of this caliber. It is to be expected, but I believe matchups like these will hopefully push him onward to bigger and better things. Of course, as you said, having qualified for the Masters, a massive accomplishment of its own. The only unfortunate thing is if you're qualifying into one of the lower spots, you're going to have a tough matchup in the first series you play. So maybe it won't be the longest stay in the competition, but getting there at all, quite the accomplishment.
Absolutely, and he did show a little bit of what he can do. That was an excellent play on 7. It's not to be taken for granted that you can even outplay him at all based on what we've seen, and he gets the first goal in game number 2. Sam, I'm trying to think back to some of the upsets we've seen in CORL history. I would surely have to think if JaxInai beat 7 here, that would be the greatest without question.
Even to have scored, I'd argue one of the better upsets that has taken place. If you can just hold on now, 4 minutes and 58 seconds, he has won the kickoff, so it's looking up. Oh, extend the lead even, he's on offense. Unfortunately, it seems like 7 should be able to convert this one. Oh, has gone wide. Yeah, rolls on up, 7 puts that one away. 14 seconds, 12 seconds of dominance from JaxInai. And that's more than most, I think, will even be able to say after this competition is done.
That remains to be seen. Can anyone put a challenge up to 7? JaxInai has got a goal in this game, as he did in the last, but he's done it rather sooner. And I think, Sam, a victory for JaxInai would be to get a really authentically close game, you know, 1, 2, 3 goal final scoreline difference. That would be a real accomplishment, and I think that's got to be his target. And I think it's within the realms of possibility. One thing he has to do, I think, is keep possession more. He's given that away there in that shot. I mean, it was 15 shots to 4, I believe, in game number 1. 7 had absolutely every ounce of pressure and possession. He's just walking the ball around here. You can see exactly what I'm saying. JaxInai just can't get a touch on it. So when he does have it, he needs to keep it. 7 now, off the ceiling. What can he do here? Decides to land on the ground. Just trying to fake out JaxInai here, looking for the bad clear. And he doesn't get it. Expecting the mistake, and that's not the best touch either. Gives it back to JaxInai. But the demo, he's going to wrestle that one back.
It would also certainly be nice to see JaxInai value his position in the field more. A lot of the time in the corners, he's diving off with shots that aren't going to go in. But the recovery time to take that shot is going to be so long that by the time he's even landed, the ball will be en route to his net. 1-1 though, he's maintained this equal footing with the favourite of the competition. And one thing that excites me about this match is so far, JaxInai has not been dominated on the kickoffs, which means he at least has a chance to, you know, and as this one floats on in. But that was a fairly long succession of play, and you wouldn't see that in a lot of matchups between two to opponents who have a great differential between their skill, but in this case, it's quite exciting because we can see JaxInai fight him off because the kickoffs are not going completely immediately into his net. So it's good experience from that point of view as well.
Yeah, JaxInai giving a little bit of his own commentary in one of the chats. If I don't go, he scores, and if I do go, he scores. And that is the dilemma for JaxInai at the moment. That's a great save, though. 7 trying to style a little bit. He's been much more aerially based in this game, Sam. He was really just ruthlessly efficient in the first game, just trying to get it past JaxInai at every opportunity. Perhaps trying to show off a little bit on stream. Of course, didn't appear on stream in that 1v1 championship victory, so this is, in a way, a debut for him as well.
First time the masses have got to see 7 compete in one of these competitions, unless you were one of the exclusive few to compete against him in the rival tier 1v1 championship. This is the first you haven't seen him play, unless of course you went to him in a ranked session or a friend or so on and so forth. For the masses, this is the debut of 7. JaxInai, by the way, seems to have picked up on your analysis, as he's put in the chat that possession is something he needs to do a better job of maintaining, and what a magnificent flick that is, and you can't blame JaxInai for not getting that one.
Yeah, that's right at the top door from 7. This is just picture perfect. You can't do much more with the ball in that position. JaxInai just too far forward. He's caught in no man's land a little bit too much here, Sam, and that's one of the most difficult things about playing a player in 1v1 who is ranked significantly higher than you, is knowing where to put your car. Should you be close? Should you be shadowing a little bit further back? JaxInai's been caught in the middle a lot of the time, indecisive, and 7 can just pick his moment and pick his mechanic. And more often than not, it's been in the back of the net. JaxInai, though, again, these dribbles have been very strong from him. Can he get it past 7 this time? Oh, so close. He has great control on those dribbles, though, Sam. By far and away, his major strength in 1v1, and we've seen it in this game. Great save again. He's made some good diving saves as well on the other end.
It's been an organically close game. This has been a really good show from JaxInai so far, maintaining that 2-goal disadvantage, but still very impressive. And as you said, his dribbles have been very good up until this point. One mistake there caused some possession, and perhaps a goal is anytime 7 gets that ball on top of his car, approaches the blue goal, there's a decent chance that'll be floating its way in.
Yeah, it's a prime example of what I was saying, the spacing just off. He had plenty of boost there, JaxInai, but he was too far really to challenge well, and he was too far forward to get a really great save on the goal line, just caught in the between. And it's another goal that goes in, 4-1, but a very respectable game. Like you say, this has been authentically close. 7 has not been running away with it, puts another one in here. And if he could maintain this scoreline, something like it, towards the end, Sam, I think JaxInai would be happy with his work. Would certainly be a very good improvement game to game. And of course we go to a reset for the next set if this game does go the way of 7.
And in the upcoming set, we've got the CORL player base all coming together, giving JaxInai advice in the competitive open general chat on how he could turn this series around in set 2. It's nice to see the community collaborate together to help a player in need. And in need, JaxInai definitely is, as he's put on the back foot again by 7. His overwhelming offense, but he's allowing him to go for a chance to see what JaxInai is made of on the offensive side of things. And you're right, we do see these sparks, these moments from JaxInai showing the player he's becoming and the type of player he will be when he truly reaches that next level. But for now, he'll be happy to just have gotten this experience under his belt.
Yeah, and I think all that advice that he's getting is perhaps not just out of the goodness of their hearts. I think there's a few more players who have a stake in 7 not getting through this round.
Yeah, could be a point. Newcastle fan, one of the he's really the head of this movement of, you know, assisting JaxInai take on this Goliath, this Titan, and who will he be playing next? Well, it's just a winner of Newcastle and Leon, so.
Yeah, the question is, can the other 7 players in this Masters tournament take down 7? At the moment, it's not looking good. Another Brazil comes through. JaxInai held on tight early in this game, but a few have trickled in towards the end once again, and 7 is looking as impressive as ever.
3 levels that 7's going to have to overcome. This is only level 1. Let's remind the viewers, the semi-finals will be coming up tomorrow, and then the finals just 2 days from now. 7 will have to win all 3
shot.
matches. Even better save. 7-1. Brazil. Could it be broken? Banyan's gonna break it. It's looking to be 7 because he's the one with the offense, but JaxInai manages to keep this one away from him, and that is set 1 going to 7, but a good showing thus far from JaxInai.
Absolutely, I don't think JaxInai could have really expected a whole lot better than this. I mean, if he knew anything at all about his opponent, that is, of course. 7, relative newcomer to competitive open, but he hasn't lost a series, quite frankly. He hasn't lost to anyone in competitive open thus far, Sam. Will he in this tournament at all? Will he lose in 2022? The odds are probably against that outcome. We'll see if JaxInai can put up any more of a challenge in set number 2. It is 1-0 now in the overall matchup. 2-7, a 2-0 win in set 1. Well, if there's anything we've seen, Sam, it is that winning set 1 is not the be-all and end-all. I believe both matches so far, the winner of set 1 has gone on to lose.
Yeah, that's accurate. Now, we do have a sample size of 2, so I don't know if that's a necessarily based on... I'm not sure if there's any correlation there, or
I'm
any
clutching at
causality.
straws here, Sam, okay? 7 is gonna win.
No, I appreciate that, yeah. JaxInai is about to mount a major comeback and win it all, and with a save like that, it's not outside the realm of possibility. It's close, but not quite.
JaxInai has possession. He needs to keep it. He needs to keep this and needs to put it in the back of the net. Unfortunately, he just gives it straight away, Sam. It's another example. And that really is the core issue. If he could just have this ball to himself, he doesn't even need 50%. He would die for 15% right about now, I think. Just cannot keep the ball under his control. The couple times he has, we've seen him from midfield dribble the ball with good control, Sam. He's got a couple flicks over 7, but they've been so few and far between. And it's 1-0.
Hopeful to see 7 after this event continue progressing up the core rankings and find himself not only at the top of rival tier, but I feel like he could truly have a career and spend some time and get some good results with the Premier boys. I feel like that's really where his destiny is leading him. Really, I believe he could be the strongest player we've seen in the history of rival tier, so it begs the reason he should be moving his way on up into Premier, especially in the new year. That should definitely be a goal of his. Win this after having won the 1v1 championship, and then at that point, once you win Masters, that's really the pinnacle of competition that Rival Tier can provide you, and then at that point, you've got to move on up.
Yeah, it's early days, yeah, but if he doesn't lose, what can you say? It's been a tier dominated by a select few for many years now. Myself, Leon, the likes of Poke as well have done very well, have largely dominated the top of the rankings, but is this the start of a new dawn in Rival Tier 7? He's looking so good. All about whether he can continue this momentum, Sam. Keep playing, keep grinding out those results. At the moment, you wouldn't bet against it, would you?
No, and ushering in a new generation, of course. I mean, 7, of course, leading the generation ahead, but it could very well be the end of an old reign, carried forward by the likes of you, Leon, and Poke, as you mentioned. Hawaru, a runner-up, a relative newcomer as well, runner-up in the 1v1 championship. I believe that was also his first ever event. So we've really got the new generation coming in and making a name for themselves, and it's up to the oldies to hold them back, and JaxInai is the first of which to battle it out against 7 in this Masters competition. But we'll see more. Leon could have a chance against him. He defeats Newcastle in our upcoming match. That will of course be on after this series has concluded. Still a lot of Rocket League left to be played, and JaxInai will want to extend that as much as he can, get as much experience as possible, and maybe even win a game.
Yeah, first task is to do what he's done in the previous 2 games and get a goal. If he could score in every single game, that would be at least a feather in his cap. Against 7, that is...
would be...
Well, that was awkward, Sam.
It was awkward, yeah. I mean, listen, he scored a goal, it's just not quite what he was looking for there, I don't think. Quite a... mechanically impressive, to be honest, in that position, get that weird little touch and then little bounce along. along with the ball. But fortunately, if it's not intentional, I don't know how much credit you can be given. That being said, he has just outplayed Seven and brought the ball down to the orange half. Demolition! And it connects.
Surely he puts this one in. He has to.
And he spawned on
He's
the other
taking his
side, and
time.
he has. Magnificent.
Well, he needs all the luck he can get, Sam, and that perhaps the only mechanism for luck in Rocket League, despite what Poke with a Stick might proclaim in his matches. He does get that on his side there, the respawn. On the correct side from JaxInai's perspective, and he gets a goal. To the third game ahead of 3.
One thing that has really impressed me is JaxInai's kickoffs have been marvellous. He's won more than he's lost, I believe. He's been dominating Seven in the kickoffs department. Don't get me wrong. Most other departments I feel like Seven hasn't beat, but to be competitive with a player of Seven's caliber in any category is quite an impressive feat.
Absolutely, and I think it's probably the reason these haven't been absolute runaway victories. I mean, okay, he's cracked double digits a couple times, but you know, sometimes in these kind of matchups you see, you know, 20 goals put in on one side just from kickoffs, because you can score so many back-to-back kickoff wins. He's not, I can't remember him scoring directly off kickoff a single time, Seven, in fact. So it's a very good point. JaxInai's held his own in that department, and every goal he's had to put in, Seven has had to outplay him to do it. There goes the 7th, but again,
great. That
he's had to outplay him.
JaxInai will get from angling with one of the best in the tier. You wouldn't get that if there was kickoffs going in left and right. Whereas because he is forced to outplay him, he's given a chance to stop him. And he has stopped him on many occasions, and as you've said, he's scored
There's another one.
goals. Once again, kickoff has been one solo play attempt. It's looking promising. Strong word, promising might be!
What a play!
Oh my goodness, that was magnificent.
Well, we're talking about authentically quality goals. That is the pick of the bunch by far. Fakes the reset and goes low. 7. Had nothing to say about that one. What a play.
That was unbelievable. Dare I say goal of the tournament.
Is it the start of something? Is it the start of a little bit more competitive play from JaxInai? It's the first time he scored more than one goal in a game. And I think the answer might be no.
The defense still leaves something to be desired. Seven taking his own attempt at a solo play off the wall. Off the ceiling was his preferred method. And back of the net, both of them are found. Went into my Yoda mode there for a second, speaking in riddles. Seven, not able to find that one.
JaxInai looking for the counter here. A good 50. I think, really, actually, Sam, there's not been that many challenges. I don't know if it's just me. There haven't been many 50-50s in this game. It's almost been both players just trying to get it past and not necessarily trying to challenge. I think JaxInai would benefit from that very much. Of course, it's easier said than done, because for large parts of this match, Seven has just been too quick to even get a touch on the ball.
That was well played, though. That challenge there. Won the ball, won some boost and a little bit of space, and he's still got a little bit of space.
Trying to fake it.
Here. Be able to get this boost, and he's missed the boost, but he's gone back around for it. Seven, only 20 boosts in the tank, so something to be desired, although now he's just been... Oh, JaxInai keeps it out, though, maintaining this 8-2 Barcelona scoreline. Though now Seven's looking to extend it, plenty of time, plenty of space, plenty of boost. JaxInai so far back, and the flick goes high. Jax with the
What a save. It was a phenomenal flick, and JaxInai was equal to it. That one's high as well, Jax. Ooh, big whiff. Gonna give possession right back to Seven, but he's low on boost. Good clear from Jax. And he needs the pressure now. Exactly what he should do there. He lost the challenge, okay, but that's exactly what he should be doing. And that's a nice touch as well. Seven, he doesn't know that JaxInai is low on boost necessarily. Going right down the middle. A little cautiously looking for the bump. Doesn't find it. Can he steal the boost in the corner? He does. And the pressure will be maintained.
Shao, he could be able to get his mid boost here now and generate something offensively. He doesn't have possession money, but there's... So yeah, those are the opportunities for dunks and 50s that you're talking about, where he's really not taking every opportunity he's being given, and that's costing him in certain areas. Seven, not just mechanically superior, but also taking those chances, by making the right decisions, putting himself in the right positions, and that's where JaxInai is lacking just as much as the mechanical side of his game.
Yeah, frankly, I think the mechanics have been quite solid. It's much more a positional dilemma for JaxInai, for me. He's just not quite doesn't quite have that experience of 7 to know when to challenge correctly, where to be at all times in 7. Just so efficient. It's a third straight game, and he's now 1 away from the semis. It's been a very classy performance from 7. And he's just 1 away now. But that's surely the most impressive game from JaxInai.
Most impressed I've been from a player in this competition thus far. Obviously, 7 has been magnificent, and all the other players in this competition have been an incredibly high level. But the level of improvement I see in JaxInai from the last time I've had the chance to watch him play is significant, and that genuinely impresses me.
Potentially just 5 more minutes separates 7 from the semis. JaxInai again has had the early pressure. It's been the first minute, apart from the first game, where JaxInai has had the best chances. He scored first in that last game. Looking to do something similar here, and he's got the pressure again. Oh, misses that boost though. And Sam, these subtle things. He's missed a few boosts on offense that have really cost him attacking chances. It's such a minor thing, just slipping by the boost, missing it by millimeters, but it doesn't matter how much you miss it by. It's a make or break factor, and he concedes in the other end.
Issue almost. How consistently he's been missing the boosts, because it's happened 5 or 6 times, and every time it's completely. Oh, that was one of the first mistakes we've seen from 7 all series long. I would say. I think that's a fair statement to make.
Absolutely.
Jack's really doing a good job of holding on, taking that 50, and maybe even a counter attack if he can get the power on it. 7 will be back in time for that one, but struggling for boost. He's going to have to take this corner and bring it around. Jax shadowing out a little bit too wide, I would say. He should be able to get the save though, thanks to that. He does. That shot's wide, and Jax may be on the counter now, but the bump will come through, and 7 looking back in on this one. Jax struggling for boost. Shot is coming through, and surely a save, and we do see the save. Jax now having held on for a couple of minutes and now bringing the ball back to the orange half. Quite impressive.
Yeah, I have to say, Sam, we've been talking a lot of impressive things about 7's game. I think a weakness that may just be exploited later in the tournament, when he's on offense, and it could well be in large part due to the opponent he's playing, he very often does not take the opportunity to get the boost before starting the offensive play. He very often is in the box with a great chance, with no boost, when he very easily could have it, and for me, it's cost him a lot of chances. He could have easily put in a lot more chances a lot quicker. Of course, JaxInai has not quite been able to take advantage of that, but I just wonder, later in this competition, when he's going up against some of rival tiers' authentic titans, will they be able to exploit that? It's 3-0, and he's closing in on the semis.
And it's a good point, because often, especially at this type of level, it's the complete opposite issue of prioritizing boost over ball, but really he needs to prioritize the boost a little bit more. Really.
Yeah, he creates the chance, and then doesn't quite have the resources to capitalize on it as effectively as he could have. Now again, it could well be a symptom of the opponent he's playing, but we will see if that comes to pass later in the competition, if indeed he does close this out.
And it's worth echoing that, of course, as we were saying earlier, this is the first, not only we have seen of 7, but also the first that the masses, even the opposition, a lot of them will not have seen 7 play. So they'll be watching this broadcast closely, looking for any similar weaknesses that JaxInai can exploit, or perhaps at the very least shine a light on. I feel like JaxInai is certainly at a level where he can do that at least, and he's doing a service to the entire division on shining a light on the favourites' strengths, weaknesses, and perhaps issues to exploit. It's a good goal.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's another good shot down the middle. He's caught off to the side, not with enough boost. Once again, Sam, he's just not got the boost he should have here, and he's too far forward, and he doesn't have the boost to recover, so it's another competitive game early on. I feel like we've been saying this every game. Before half-time, it's been a real matchup, but he's tended to pull away 7 in the late game. But yeah, it will be interesting. Of course, Leon and Newcastle, neither of them played 7 in the 1v1 championship, and I do wonder who that benefits. Does it benefit 7, who, you know, they haven't had a chance to figure him out, or does it benefit perhaps the winner of that match, who has not been beaten by 7 in that 1v1 championship? Of course, Huararu is probably the favourite now to make the final on the other side of the bracket, who did manage to make some chances against 7. He lost 3-1. It was the only game 7 dropped in the whole tournament in the 1v1 championship. And there were some close games, so this is definitely not a write-off, this tournament, in favour of 7. He's the favourite,
Oh,
and deservedly
absolutely.
so.
I mean, the law of statistics is... Well, I'm not going to try and recite the... It's probably a mistake to try and do that on a broadcast, but certainly the large quantity of opposition, while he may be the favourite, still got to win many matches to make it his way to the end. And the odds of him being the best player on the day, out of all 8 players in this competition, are very low. So the chances of him being dethroned as the reigning 1v1, recent 1v1 tournament champion is quite unlikely, I would say. Especially as you were saying, I believe that obviously he didn't play Lyon, didn't play Newcastle, those type of players. Having not played those players always favours the underdog, in my opinion. It always makes the game that bit less likely to follow the expected train. So certainly an advantage to Lyon and Newcastle, I would say, especially as I'm sure they're both in the chat watching this game and watching for any weaknesses they can exploit and almost imagining themselves in JaxInai's shoes. So noting, up until this point, I mean, 7 has been taking this game relatively seriously. Certainly, I'm sure he has higher gears he can go to. Certainly not being lax in his offense and his defense in any department of his game. It was relatively close up until a couple of moments ago where he scored a couple of goals in quick succession.
And here's a
he's about
second.
to get back in, back within 5.
Yeah, I think certainly 7 probably has a gear or 2 higher, but you get a pretty good idea of how he's going to play on the day, even if it is a much tougher opponent he's facing.
And what's fantastic is that JaxInai is keeping it relatively close despite the fact that 7 is obviously maybe not trying his absolute utmost, but he's certainly not going absurdly easy either. He's just playing normal. This is equivalent to maybe 7's free play.
350.
Where 50 indeed, and he's forced him back and he's going to be able to get this boost. Now, he has turned the other way around and is now shadowing completely opposite to the play. It's these little things that make the difference in these type of matches, these high-level, high situations. It's being broadcast, all your friends are watching, you're a bit nervous. That's where you really see the differences. That's a magnificent
great
flick. As you were saying, that's really where JaxInai shines. And as he continues to develop as a player, I can only imagine how those flicks will evolve.
Yeah, when you back off, when you give him space, a lot of the time he will capitalize. That was about as good as he could do. Okay, it wasn't in the top corner, but high above the defender. You can't ask for much more. 7-3, Sam. We've seen 4-goal comebacks with a minute left. Of course, the context of the match would make that a lot less likely, but this has been
Slightly, I would say.
an authentic challenge from JaxInai. He scored 3 in one game now. That's a pretty nice compilation of goals for him against 7, who is such an overwhelming favourite for this matchup. He's done very well. And Sam, let's not forget, JaxInai has made an immense run of progress in Competitive Open in the last year. This time last year, he was just a new member in Competitive Open, couldn't have dreamed of making the Masters. Here he is in the rival tier's top 8. And improving all the time, and playing this level of competition, Sam, is going to make such a difference.
And that's so important to outline. I see he's being slightly hard on himself in the chat, often putting in a what a save when he makes a slight error. You are playing the pinnacle of competition in your designated tier. You've had an absolutely incredible level of improvement over the course of the last year, and you've just qualified for the Masters competition. You're not expected to win against the favourite of the competition. That's okay. He's putting up a magnificent showing and giving us genuinely close games with the highest player in the entire competition. There's no more you can ask for, and I think it's important that we recognise that.
Absolutely. And who knows, when we return for the Masters next year, where JaxInai will be in the rival tier rankings. Could he himself be the top seed? Stranger things have happened. 7. Looking to close this one out now. And Sam, we talked a lot about JaxInai and the expectations in this match and how he has surely met them. But 7, you have to give credit to him. It's been a marvellous performance. Perhaps in second gear, it hasn't mattered a jot. It's been a tour de force from the number 1 seed, and he's going to be comfortably through to the semi-finals. Surely tougher tests lie ahead, but for now, for today, 7 is in the semi-finals of the 2022 Masters. The 1v1 champion is just 2 matches away from lifting the biggest one of all, the Masters title